If you're looking for ideas for Halloween, stick around, we'll give you some ideas. And coming up, I'll tell you about the university's celebration of Pride Week.
From the campus of the University of Utah. News produced by students for students.
Good morning and welcome to this week's fall-themed edition of Newsbreak. I'm Tiffany Justice.
And I'm Tanner Hall. And coming up, I'll go in depth with an interview of the university's interim president, Dr. Loris Betts.
Last week was Pride Week here at the University of Utah. LGBTRC is the acronym for the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Resource Center here at the U. The center's mission is to educate and create an open and supportive environment for LGBT students. The center offers a safe zone training program for all departments here on campus. The program's goal is to create an atmosphere of inclusion for the LGBT community and to educate staff and faculty on LGBT issues relating to sexuality and gender. DJ Payton, a resident advisor within HRE, Housing and Residential Education, a team dedicated to serve University of Utah student residents, has noticed the growing diversity on campus and feels that the university and its student body needs to embrace the LGBT community and grow with it.
When it comes down to it, it's all individual people, because each of us has the right and the ability to be who we want to be, and so we should be supportive of that.
Reporting on a growing community here on campus, I'm Tiffany Justice.
2-1.
And last week, the Hinckley Institute of Politics hosted a forum on campus to discuss redistricting. Matt Williams has more on the story.
The state legislature passed its new congressional map to Governor Herbert last week. The governor signed the bill into a law last Thursday, despite threats of lawsuits from Utah Democrats. The Hinckley Institute of Politics brought 4 legislators to campus to discuss the process of redistricting.
Welcome to the Hinckley Institute of Politics.
And so we thought this was a great opportunity to bring in the Speaker of the House and a senator and Ben McAdams, who's of course a Democrat, to let them discuss after the fact what happened with this redistricting process, because it's been such a big story and somewhat controversial.
The Hinckley Institute hosts around 80 forums every year to make students aware of political issues and to get them involved.
Well, we believe that our citizens, and especially our students, need to be engaged, and the best way to become engaged in issues is to hear from the top people on the issues.
The forum, titled Pizza or Donut, A Taste of Utah Redistricting, featured views on both sides of the issue.
I think it was, in fact, I know that it was the most open and transparent process in Utah's history. I will put our process, our redistricting process, up against any state in the country.
But there were people who were saying, who were using fancy computer modeling to predict how a district would act in a hypothetical election. And they'd run these districts and they'd say, well, it looks like Jim Matheson could win this district. We need to take out Holiday and put in, find another conservative area based on our computer modeling and put that in. And we were building a district from the ground up that would perform how we wanted it to perform.
Currently, no legal action is taking place against the redistricting, but to keep up on issues such as this, you can visit the Hinckley forums. For a list of those forums, you can visit www.hinckley.utah.edu. For Newsbreak, I'm Matthew Williams reporting.
And for anyone interested, the next Hinckley Forum, called Political Reporting and the Fourth Estate, Who Watches Government, will be held Friday, October 28th at 12 p.m.
Employers looking to hire have a tendency to place an emphasis on clean appearance. But how does having a tattoo affect your chance of getting a job? Angela Worley has more.
It's hard to miss the ink around campus, but how will this affect students?
38% of millennial students have tattoos. Tattoos may or may not affect a student's job search. If you look on the one hand, most tattoos can be covered up by shirts, blouses, skirts, pants, all the above. So in most cases, a tattoo won't affect you. But in the case that a tattoo isn't as easily covered up, it really depends on the industry. So if you're going into a more professional environment like finance, accounting, it may or may not reflect the company's image.
People just are really against it. Like, my mom's not happy that I have them, but I don't know, maybe like as generations get younger, they'll become more like accepting, and yeah, maybe they'll be normal one day.
With our clientele, we cover all walks of life. If someone's thinking about getting their tattoo, they should also think about where they are in the point of life.
Most stereotypes, I would say, are negative, but we all as a country kind of want to say, don't judge a book by its cover. But the reality of it is, we do. So when a student goes into an interview, I always encourage them, try and cover those up.
Although they are beginning to gain acceptance, tattoos are still a risk. This is Angela Worley reporting for Newsbreak.
For more information on creating a successful professional appearance, Career Services is hosting a seminar entitled Increase Your Interviewing Impact on Friday, October 28th at 12:30 p.m. as part of their Foundation Series.
Dr. A. Loris Betts was appointed the University of Utah's interim president May of 2011. This is his second term serving as such. While Dr. Betts is well known in academic and administrative circles, not much is known about this man by the student body. I interviewed Dr. Betts so students could get a better idea of who he is.
I'm a middle child. I've got an older sister, a younger brother, and of my siblings, I'm the only one that had an opportunity to go to college and to get both undergraduate degree and advanced degrees. As a high school student, I was really very active in music. Trumpet was my main instrument, but this was the era of folk music, and so a couple guys and I put together a little folk group and learned to play the guitar for that, and pretty much knew from the beginning that I was going to be headed for a career in science in one way or another. When I came out of high school, I was really crazy about chemistry in particular, and so that's why I took undergraduate courses in chemistry and really enjoyed them. Lots of different specialties, and when I did my pediatrics residency, I just really realized that I enjoyed working with kids and with their parents, and most of the time kids come in sick and they get better and everybody's happy, and so I really enjoyed that. And so after I graduated, I went to the University of California, San Francisco to do a residency in pediatrics, and I think medicine is an incredibly rewarding profession because you are able to do things that help people. As an academic faculty member, though, also I've always seen teaching and doing research as the most rewarding thing that you can do at a university. It's a real privilege to be able to help train the next generation as a teacher.
On Dr. Betts, you can visit the Office of the President website at utah.edu.
Now we'll check in with Chloe at the Officer Circle's gazebo.
She's meeting with a local costume shop to show us some hip costume ideas for this Halloween.
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here with Laura Hirschley from Mass Costumes. Laura, thank you so much for being here with us.
You are so welcome, Chloe.
And well, as we all know, Halloween is just a few days ahead of us. What can you tell us about costumes and Halloween in general?
Well, at Mass Costumes, we're a year-round store, so if you are looking for something and you think, well, probably everyone's picked over, there's not anything left, we've got plenty, because we have to make sure that we have stuff not just now, but year-round. This is a couple of examples of our nicer rental costumes, so if you want to go elaborate, we have elaborate. If you want to go simple, we've got simple too.
Awesome. Well, you know, Halloween obviously isn't just for trick-or-treating for little kids, you know, with all the candies. What can you tell us about the adult side of Halloween? Because obviously you have the adult costumes, and it's not for kids.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, ever since you were little, when by the time you got to be a teenager and they said, you're too old to trick or treat, I think we've resented it ever since that time. So
right.
As grown-ups, we want to have a party, and we think, right. I'm going to have candy, and I'm going to have costumes, and it's going to be the coolest thing ever. So we cater to home decor as well as ideas for parties. We have really simple costumes that you can buy. We have elaborate costumes and even simple costumes you can rent. So anything from little kids to adults, we've got it.
Well, this costume is obviously not simple at all, but it looks gorgeous. So you can tell us more about this, right?
Oh, absolutely. This
Great.
is actually an original costume. It's handmade by a lady named Lady Ellen, and she did this as a matching masquerade ensemble. And we have other costumes similar to that, and we have things, everything from barbarians all the way up to 80s punk rockers and everything in between.
How do you, so with Halloween every year, and it's always the, you know, trending time, how do you pick out which costumes are like trending this year?
That's a really good question, and it's hard because as a store owner, we have to pick the inventory we think is going to sell, and if we guess wrong, we're stuck with it. The pop-up shops that come seasonally, they ship in and they ship out. They don't choose anything except on a national basis. So we try and avoid super trendy stuff like little kids' costumes that may be cool one year and then not cool the next.
Right.
But we try and also have the traditional like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, the cool stuff for little kids, things that everybody's going to want year-round.
Awesome. Well, you have more costumes for us to look at, right?
I do.
Great. Well, we're going to look at those costumes when we come back from commercial. And welcome back to Newsbreak, and we do have Lori here from Mask Costumes.
Yes.
And you say you have 2 locations, right?
We do. If you remember the old costume closet on 7th East and 39th South, right by the Arctic Circle, that's our shop. And then we just opened a second location, 5400 South, 1826 West. It's right next to Furniture Warehouse on the corner of Redwood Road and 54th. Same little shopping mall as Cafe Rio and Leatherby's. So we've been just open since October 1st there and having a great time.
And obviously you've been keeping busy.
Oh yes, we've got some great trends that we want to show you as far as costumes.
Great, let's see them.
Okay, the first one, Rebecca's wearing a wonderful Victorian ensemble that is steampunk. It's Victorian meets Industrial Revolution. We've got pins, jewelry, necklaces, ideas. We've got all sorts of fun stuff you can put together because steampunk is right now the really, really cool thing. The other thing that's still cool, Harry Potter. Even though the movies are done, sadness, it's still cool to be Harry. And we've got the glasses, we've got some liquid you can use to make a scar, so you can do the little lightning bolt on your forehead. And Jim created this broom, which I think is awesome.
Amazing.
And we can tell you how he did it. If you want to create your own broom to ride, then we've got the ideas.
That looks very cool.
Now the other thing people want to know about is they're like, well, what can I wear if I'm going to a party as a couple's costume? We've got a ton of ideas. For example, Crazy Gorilla Man and the Banana Date.
There you go.
So it's good for any number of ideas. And we've got for sale, for rent, or just for cheap. If you need something quick and fast, we've got all sorts of ideas. We even have stuff for home decorating type ideas for parties.
For costumes. Now, tell us, Laura, what are you wearing?
This is one of our purchasable costumes. It's by In Character. It's new this year. It's a Scarlet Pirate, and we've got a matching one for gentlemen. And this is such a nice costume because it's not going to fall apart. You could wear it for this Halloween. You could wear it to a Renaissance fair. You've got all sorts of options, and you know it's not going to be a cheap costume that you will regret buying.
Right. You don't want to regret buying any costumes. Definitely not. Well, Laura, thank you so much for coming to our show.
You're so welcome.
And it looks fabulous. So I hope that gave you guys some ideas. And back to you.
Thanks, Chloe, for bringing us those great ideas. I think I have an idea of what I'm going to be for Halloween.
That gave me some good ideas as well.
With Halloween coming up, Rachel Green investigated into some campus myths. She has more on the story.
With Halloween just around the corner, we uncover 2 legends on campus.
Okay, I didn't really believe in ghosts when I started working here, but there's been some things that have happened that have kind of changed my mind. We have an old ticket office. I just shut the door really tight, and it's a really tight-fitting door. All of a sudden, I could hear a noise. I looked over, and the door handle was turning, and this door just came open. And I couldn't explain that. And then another time, I was standing in the corner, and all of a sudden, I could see a hand that came out from behind the drapes, grabbed the drape, and pulled it back. And the drape just fluttered back to where it was. I've seen like shadows, and I've forms of people walking down the hall, and they disappear. One of the janitors thinks that it was one of the old janitors that worked here. Every morning when he would come to work, the seats of the chairs were all up so that he could just go down the aisle and sweep. He wouldn't have to need to push the chairs up and move things around. When they can't get the doors unlocked, they'll say, "Leroy, let us in," and then the door will open.
Our resident ghost is named Clem. He was named by a group of Boy Scouts with a previous curator who was telling them the story about his appearance. Our building is an 1874 barracks. Clem appears as what we call our benevolent sentry. He shows up in a blue uniform, probably Civil War, just kind of glances around the corner and then disappears again. But if you're here alone at night and the doors are all locked, you hear people come in and there are footsteps.
Leroy in Kingsbury Hall and Clem from the Fort Douglas Museum are only two of the friendly ghosts reported on campus. To learn more about these and other legends, on October 29th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., there will be a Fort Douglas Cemetery tour where you can learn about the history of these legends and more.
Wow, who knew our campus had such spooky happenings?
In celebration of the season, the university hosted a Halloween-themed Crimson Night. Chelsea Hansen checked out the party.
Crimson Nights occurs 4 times a year, this one being the Black Pumpkin Affair. There will be many activities like billiards and bowling, a hypnotist, tarot card reading, face painting, and of course the big dance party. The theme this year will be...
This year we kind of gave it a theme of Till the World Ends. So it's going to be kind of like an end of the world rapture party kind of thing.
So what would you do if the world was ending? Perhaps skydive?
We can't get skydiving here, but we're going to get like this thing that you like jump on, and it kind of resembles skydiving in a way. And that's called an Orbitron.
Different activities this year include...
We have a pumpkin gut fight. We're actually going to get guts from actual pumpkins, and then everyone's just going to throw them at each other like a big food fight inside of a bouncy house.
And come hungry. Why?
Free Del Taco again, like the first Crimson Nights.
And don't forget the costume contest. The winner will receive a free laptop, so come dressed to impress. Crimson Nights is brought to you by Hi-Chew, a Japanese fruit chew brand. The next Crimson Nights will be held this upcoming February. Next up for the Union Programming Council will be the No Shave November. So throw away those razors and be entered to win Skull Candy headphones. I'm Chelsea Hansen reporting for Newsbreak.
I'll be sure to check out the next Crimson Night on February 24th.
Next up, Joseph Laney spotlights the university's softball team.
The University of Utah women's softball team played at the red and white scrimmage game against themselves last Friday to finish the fall season. The stakes? The losers make breakfast for the winners.
The thing that I love about softball program is it teaches you discipline on and off the field. You learn how to work hard in the weight room and out here on the field, and it also teaches you how to work hard as a student.
The softball program is just amazing. The coach is great, all the coaches are, and all the players are amazing.
I'm a freshman and I'm from Tooele, Utah, and I came to the University of Utah because I love the atmosphere in the softball team.
I've been playing softball for 15 years, and I like the team at the U because they become your lifelong friends.
The game's exciting, it's big, a lot of home runs, a lot of aggressive base running. Our team led the conference last year in defense, and it's our highlight again this year for this year's squad. The Pac-12, the new conference that we're in, is the best softball conference in the nation.
Using softball to build teams with character. This is Joseph Laney for Newsbreak.
While softball is over for the season, sports fans can still look forward to the upcoming women's volleyball and women's soccer game this Friday and the football game on Saturday against Oregon State.
And that does it for this week's fall-themed episode of Newsbreak, the show produced by students for students. Happy Halloween!